Namaste. Hello and welcome to Yoga with Birgit. This is a little analytic session where I want to break down the Surya Namaskar A. So that's the Sun Salutation A, and Ashtanga, they are the start of the series. Ideally you were already a bit warmed up so that this is not a complete new exercise for you. I'll practice down now in really small steps, so to explain this a bit more in detail, and then later on in the full primary series or half primary series you're going to do them 5 times and then followed by Surya Namaskar B. So now please come to your mat. Fold your hands first and focus. Fold your hand in the prayer position and then focus for a moment. Inhale and exhale. Okay, now put your hands to the side. We're starting with Samastiti. The important part is we're starting on the bottom to really get a good foundation. So look at your feet for a moment and put the toes next to each other, and then spread your toes all one by one so that you're having a really good foundation. So they look a bit like a gecko. The front toes, they're touching, the heels are next to each other but they're not touching, they're about 2 fingers width apart. Then focus on your knees. Knees are above the heels. The kneecap is tightened, you're engaging your quadricep muscles, pulling up the kneecap. You're putting your hips above, so your knees are above the heels, the hips are above the knees, and you're having a firm abdomen, putting the tummy in, coming up, rolling your shoulders back and down. So your neck is relaxed, and you have a really straight position, looking to the front, have the chin up, facing forward, and the crown of your head is like stacked in that same line where the heels, the knees, and your hips are one line. Perfect. Hands next to the side in a strong position, palms facing your body. And that is Samastiti, or the mountain pose. And that's a really important base foundation pose that you're coming back to plenty of times during the series. Now, the next pose is an inhale. You're lifting your arms into Urdhva Hastasana. Lifting your arms, putting the hands together if you can. As an alternative, you can keep the arms parallel. And if you can, in Ashtanga, you're putting the palms together, you look up and doing this during an inhale. Then the next one is you're exhaling, you're putting your hands, you're lowering them, you're bending from your hips, bending down all the way into Uttanasana. All the way down. Now, this may be your first time you're doing something, so your body may not be quite warmed up. So you have options. You can either place your hands, if you're very warm and you're very flexible, you can place your hands next to your toes and come with full palm down. If this is not an option for you, you can just place your fingertips, so just wherever you go with your flexibility. And put your again, bending from the hips. See how much you can put your face closer to your knees, looking to your nose. Now the next inhale, you come into a halfway lift, Urdhva Uttanasana. And here again you have options. The important part is that your back is straight. So you may be able to do this with your fingers on the mat, or you can put your hands on your shin so that your back is straight.
and your chest is lifted up, opening up your chest. In the next exhale,
I'll show you a few options. So you're going into Chaturanga Dandasana. So you're putting your hands next to your feet again. And then you can either walk or jump back into a plank position. I'll show you the walk first. So you can do the walk into a plank position. And now here you have different options again. You can go into full Chaturanga, which I show first. So you're bending your knees, you're bending your elbows, you're bringing them really close to your body and going down in one go, being straight, and your body is entirely straight. And then come into the next pose. The other option is, here on the halfway lift, you can jump and go down into Chaturanga. Again, elbows really close to your body. Or, now I'll show you another version. From halfway lift, placing the hands, walking back, coming into the plank, lowering your knees first, and then bring your pelvis to the back. Again, bring your elbows really close and bend them, and then come into this way. Good. Now, whatever way you've decided, you're then coming into upward facing dog, into Uddhva Adho Svanasana. Now, in this one here, it's important, with all of the positions we're having, where we're using our wrists, that the wrists are under your shoulders, and that you're using your entire palm. I explain this later a bit more in detail, but important is that you're using an entire palm with all fingers spread out. Now here, engage your glute, so you don't want to have your knees touching the ground. And then you're rolling back your shoulders, you're opening up your chest, and you're looking up. Okay, now the next one is an exhale, and that is where you come into downward facing dog. Your Adho Svanasana. And this one here again, the same palm position. So you're spreading out your fingers and entirely placing them here. That's to protect your wrists. So you're spreading out your fingers, exactly the same as before, using the entire palm. So you're not, you're flattening the entire palm, putting it entirely on the mat, and then you're placing your feet hip width apart and come into this downward facing dog. And here you can correct yourself by lifting up your pelvis, your entire hip, further to the ceiling. Like really try to stretch as much as you can to create this beautiful long extension. So your hips are coming all the way up. So you can feel a really nice stretch in the backside of your legs. And you're also stretching all the way from your fingers along your back into your hips. Now, and your gaze is like towards your navel or maybe towards the kneecap, that's also fine. And in here, in the Surya Namaskar A and B, you're staying here for 5 breaths. So it's enough time for you to focus on the pose and see how deep you can go. Now, not everyone is able to reach, of course, with the heels down. So this is totally, you do where you are, where your body is. So the idea is over time that your heels get closer and closer to the mat. But you can stay exactly where you are. And just know that this is the direction you're going. You can always try to get a little bit deeper down and at the same time a bit higher with your hips up in the air so that there's this beautiful stretch. Great. Now, in the next inhale, you're either walking or jumping to the front again. I show the walking. And then you're coming into the halfway lift, to the Uttanasana. So that is what you have done before. Here again, the two options. You can put your hands on your shin or leave them on the ground, depending where you are. Exhale, come all the way down again into the full bend. Feel that this time you may actually be already a bit more flexible because you warmed up a bit more. Coming closer to your knee. And then in the next inhale, lift up into a raised arm position. Bring your palms together again, looking up. Exhale, coming down into Samastiti. Correcting again your pose, focusing on the good foundation with your gecko feet and bringing a lot of strength into your entire body, pulling up those kneecaps, correcting your pelvis position, so slightly tilting it to the front so that you have a firm abdomen, rolling back the shoulders, having the arms strong and straight next to you with the palms facing inward, and ensuring that your crown of the head is stacked on top of your shoulders in the same line as your hips, your knees, and your heels with the view to the front. So, this is the Surya Namaskar A series. I'll repeat this now without the pauses so that we can do it together. Now, come to the front, into Samastiti. Again, think of this foundation. Raise your arms, inhale. Exhale into a full bend down. Inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. 5 breaths. And here, correct this. Use the time to focus and correcting your position by putting your hips even further up, your heels further down, and straightening the arms, enjoying the stretch. 5. And inhale, walk or jump to the front into a halfway lift. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale into Samastiti. Great. Thank you for this. Namaste.